Hi, everyone, and welcome to You've Got to Have Art. I'm the producer and your host, Jeffrey Stoodt. East Milton Square has long been a place where you'd usually get your hair or nails done, pick up your dinner or dry cleaning, and then you'd head home. But thanks to the Milton Art Center, it's starting to develop a cultural and artistic flavor. This fall, the center staged its first music series to wide acclaim. With me in the studio is the final performer in the series, Jennifer Kimball. She'll be appearing on Saturday night, December 6th, and I'm sure after learning her story and hearing her music, you'll be eager to come see the show. Jennifer Kimball achieved fame in the early 1990s as part of a folk music duo with Jonathan Brooke called The Story. Their two releases on Elektra Records were critically celebrated. At the time, New York Times critic Stephen Holden called them, quote, the last word in elegant folk pop refinement. Their notoriety led to opening on a tour with Jackson Browne. Their time on the national stage was short, however. Their partnership dissolved in 1994. Since then, both women have carved out strong careers as solo performers. Jennifer Kimball, who one critic dubbed the Art Garfunkel to Jonathan Brooks' Paul Simon, has developed a reputation as a sterling and meticulous songwriter. Her solo debut, Veering from the Wave, arrived in 1998. The prestigious website AllMusic called this release, quote, an engaging debut that suggests she is an adult contemporary vocalist of considerable potential. The best moments on the album are elegant, almost soulful, thanks to her rich vocals. Kimball's talents leave a lasting impression, one to watch. 8 years later came Jennifer's follow-up, Oh, Hear Us. Once again, AllMusic was quite flattering, calling the release, quote, literate, versatile, accomplished singer-songwriter music. Those who view her as a continuation of classic performers in the styles such as Joni Mitchell will find much to latch onto in that direction, both in Kimball's sophisticated vocal phrasing and the occasionally jazzy flavors. Now here we are, 8 years later, and again, Jennifer Kimball is preparing a new release. I'm eager to learn about the music on it. During these gaps between album releases, Jen has kept quite busy, collaborating with a variety of artists, providing backup vocals for artists like Patty Larkin, Katie Curtis, Tony Trischka, and Chris Delmhorst. For a short time, she and her husband, Rye Kavanaugh, formed a group called Maybe Baby, and she has also recorded with the groups The Wayfaring Strangers and Session Americana. Welcome to my show, Jennifer, and thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Let's begin by going back to the start of your musical career. You met Jonathan Brooke when you were both students at Amherst College. Now, what mutual interest sparked your relationship with her?
We met right at the very beginning in the auditions for singing groups. So we were freshmen in 1981, and we got into the same groups, and there was an immediate chemistry. In fact, in the audition for the kind of girls doo-wop group, I remember everybody was exhausted. They'd listened to female singers all afternoon. And finally, the auditioners said, is there anything anybody else wants to do? Kind of exasperated. We don't know how to choose. And I piped up and said, yes, I want to sing with her. And there was Jonathan, and I loved her voice. And we sang the same part and harmony parts that we had learned all afternoon, and they took both of us. And it was, it was an auspicious beginning. We couldn't stop singing together.
So what's your favorite memory of your time in the story?
My favorite memory? Oh, gosh. I think the favorite memories come in the magic of the moment performing with Jonathan, when we were a duo calling ourselves Jonathan and Jennifer, and then as the story, playing as a duo just with Jonathan's guitar and the two voices. I think there were magic moments for me, especially in a song called The Gilded Cage, which is one of my favorites of hers, where the voices become a whole other element.
Mm-hmm.
They take on a life of their own, and they become almost a third instrument, separate from each of us individually.
Oh, you make me want to run right back and listen to that song. I may.
It's a good one.
Now, after you and Jonathan parted ways, you spent some time developing your own approach to playing and songwriting. Could you tell us about this 4-year period before the release of Veering from the Wave?
Sure. Part of the reason I left the story was because I didn't feel I was... I was living in this strange world where we were perceived as an equal duo, equal partnership, but I wasn't finding myself able to contribute. I wasn't writing, and it wasn't happening for me. I wasn't in the right space for that. And Jonathan's very driven, and it just, the combination of our two personalities, it just wasn't happening. It was miserable. So I bowed out, and I didn't know that I would write songs and continue. I didn't really know what I was going to do. And I found that I got pulled back in to music slowly and through the generosity of a couple of friends, Katie Curtis, Patty Larkin, Carrie Newcomer. And they all three took me on tour in various different configurations with a band and solo. And I got the itch. I started to be able to finish my ideas, write songs, and it was a very turbulent time. My marriage to my first husband ended at that time as well, and so it felt so dark leaving the story and that event in my life, and but it led to needing to write, and I've let that kind of happen.
So you suffered, so you had something to write about.
Oh, thank you. There it is.
Yeah.
Nothing like a little pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That was so fun.
Well, you must have been really pleased at the reception that your first album received.
I was incredibly psyched. Yeah.
And then 8 years passed before the next one.
Yes.
But really, they're quite eventful, those 8 years. For one thing, you got married, and you had your son. Mm-hmm. You got remarried.
Yeah.
And then there's all the collaborating that you continued to do. Now, what do you like best about living in such a musically rich place like Boston and having the opportunity to work with so many talented people?
It's a blast. I mean, it's kept me from leaving town. We definitely have fantasized about moving to more rural, beautiful areas. And we live in Somerville, which is totally happening. I mean, I could live my whole life on that north side of the Charles River and be in Cambridge and Somerville. And there's so much music and so many different kinds of musicians. And I've just dig it. That's one of my favorite things in the world, is to collaborate and figure out paths to go with songs.
Sure. Now, in 2006, you released Oh Hear Us on your own record label. It was yet another terrific collection that reminded audiences why your singing and songwriting are such a treasure. There are a couple of songs from that album that especially impressed me. The first was Don't Take Your Love Away. I have listened to interviews with you online from this time, and there's a good story behind this song that I'm hoping that you'll share with our viewers. It concerns a flooded basement, isn't that right?
It does. Begins with mold, really. Right. So it does begin with an actual event which happened, as many songs seem to for me. Something happens. And a melody happened simultaneously, probably a few days later. But this idea that I was the person dealing with the flood, and it was my stuff and my husband's stuff. And boy, the things that you find. I mean, I found letters that he had written, and I found letters that I had written, and then the letters all the way back, past generations. I have a box of letters from my great-grandmother, who was a missionary in Beirut, Lebanon. and they are in this handwriting that you cannot decipher. It takes a very long time. But I have these letter projects in front of me, which became very obvious at that time as I had to dry out these pieces of paper. And I ended up making up my own story. You know, what if you really found something that was devastating to you, like your lover's old relationship, and what that would mean. So I had also a couple of friends who were going through a very, very rich breakup, shall we say. a lot of very poignant language was coming at me, and I was a good listener. So some of this song comes right out of that.
Great. Hope you'll play it for us, will you?
Sure. The street was a river, middle of June, a river that ran through our home. We were gone traveling a couple of days, so I dried out our things all alone, and I opened a box I'd never seen, full of old letters written to you. Don't take your love away, she said. Don't take your love away. Page by page, I laid them out to dry. What I knew I shouldn't read. How could you love somebody so much, knowing they'd chosen to leave? She said, I miss what we were, I want what we had. Your silence, the cruelest reply. Don't take your love away. Don't take your love away. Don't take your love away. Oh, wouldn't it be easier in black and white? I'm reading this too close to home. Well, I've got some letters and a box of my own, saved here for all these years. Oh, I've kept them for all these years. Days getting lonely, the sun setting late, and now even your keys at the door. Well, they never sounded this way before. Don't take your love away. Don't take your love away. Don't take your love away. Don't take your love
Thank you. That's beautiful. One of the favorite things I like about what you do is that on your releases, you always pull something from the past. You do another writer's songs. Like, I know in concert you've done Brian Wilson's God Only Knows. And I know on Oh Hear Us, you pulled out this Bing Crosby song, Wrap Your Troubles in Dreams. I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
So these things undoubtedly sail through your mind as you are composing your own songs in terms of putting them together.
Sure.
And, well, here we are, the 8-year cycle, right? Oh Hear Us was in 2006.
That's right.
And it's 2014, and you've got something new brewing here.
I do.
Right?
I'm brewing up a new one. Yeah, for next year. So actually, I guess it's the 9-year. We've moved to the 9-year cycle.
So I am glad, because we talked in advance of this, I'm glad you consented to perform a song that you're preparing for this new release.
Yeah.
Could you tell me something about it?
Sure. I'd love to play your new one. This is called Saturday Day. And it's, well, I guess in the end, most of the songs I seem to be writing are love songs of one kind or another. Mm-hmm. Love is the great motivator. It's the great thing we all aspire to. Mm-hmm. So this song, it came out of going to a party and feeling incredibly uncomfortable and leaving, which was a matter of both of failure and of taking care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, well, this doesn't feel good. I think I'll go home. Mm-hmm. And so there's that kind of sad, poignant, difficult part of it, and then the part that's like, you know what? I'm just going to go home. Yeah. And that's going to be great.
Take care of myself.
So, yeah. I imagined it as a song where one woman is singing, and then all these other women are like the Greek chorus, kind of answering and giving advice and being loving in the background. So we'll see. We'll see if that all comes through on the recording. But
great. Do you have a title for the song yet?
I think it's just called Saturday Day.
Okay.
I gotta start that again. This is called Saturday Day.